What's up, YouTube? It's the Action Figure Grader coming back to you with another market update for the vintage collection. And if you'll remember from last week, there was not a lot of great items that sold for the vintage collection on eBay because people's pockets are empty after all the recent releases from Hasbro. But this week is a different story. As you can tell by this thumbnail, there were some pretty incredible grails that sold. We had a VC20 Canadian Yoda, the Death Star playset, some beautiful unpunched figures that you don't see very often, Jar Jar and Carbonite, some graded figures, lots of really great stuff. In general, though, the prices were still very affordable, and the VC20 Yoda that I'll cover a little bit later on, it's the lowest price I've seen for an unpunched Yoda on that alternate card back in a very long time. So let's go ahead and dig right in. The first one is that VC04 unpunched Luke Skywalker Bespin Fatigues. This is one that is tough to find unpunched. And it did not look like the punch was kind of inserted back in and the seller got cute or anything like that. This one looked like a true unpunched example. It was not perfect, obviously. As you can see by the photo there at the top, it did have a crease by the hang tab and a crease on the hang tab itself, but it did look like it was an unpunched example. And so it had some edge wear, things like that. Now, if you'll remember about a year, maybe more ago, there was an AFA 9.0 that was unpunched of this exact same card back that sold for $800 or $900, something really big like that. And then we saw another one that sold for over $400 that was ungraded. Well, this one was over in the UK. It was listed for 130 pounds. It sold for 105 pounds, which equates to about 130 US dollars. So that's a really good deal for a VC04 unpunched Luke Skywalker. As you guys probably know or remember, Yakface had a great article that talked about these early TVC 1.0 that do not often come unpunched. So they're very tough to find, and to get that one for 130 bucks, even despite those flaws, that's a really, really good deal. Next up was a Canadian Return of the Jedi Boba Fett. So beautiful example, and it was the an unpunched Canadian card back. So this one's a little tougher to find than the US card back. There's maybe one of these made for every 10 of the US version. This one sold for $225. That seems to be kind of in line with the last one that I remember selling for about that same price point. Next up, another one that's tough to find unpunched, Darth Vader name pill for Anakin Skywalker on that Revenge of the Sith card back. And it was the US card. And this one is also down. I mean, this one's not as hard to find as like a VC04 Luke Bespin, but nevertheless, it is a little tougher to find. The Anakin Skywalker name pill unpunched is like a ghost. That one's very, very tough to find. This one you can find occasionally, and it looked to be in great shape overall. That one sold for $147.50. I thought that was a really good deal for one that was, maybe slightly harder to find in an unpunched card back. Likewise, here's the Anakin Skywalker name pill for the Ultimate Galactic Hunt foil example. So these obviously are punched, and this was the US card back. This one sold for $220. So two relative price points. One, the unpunched Darth Vader. That one sold for $150-ish. And then the Ultimate Galactic Hunt foil version with the Anakin Skywalker name pill that sold for $220. To me, I'd rather have this one, the Darth Vader name pill unpunched, but they're both very nice examples. Next up, General Grievous on the foil card back. That one, this seller had 3 of them available. 2 of them have sold for $220 US dollars, free shipping, and he still has one available for those of you out there looking, but that's a really nice, clean example for General Grievous. Next up was a graded punched example for Clone Commander Cody. This one was the retail release. You can see the paperwork inside. It did not have the sticker on the front of the card back, though, so keep that in mind. I don't know if it was removed or it just missed it in the factory, but it was graded CAS 90, straight 90s for the sub score. Very clean example overall. $245, one bid on that one, plus $15 shipping. This one maybe surprised me a little bit on the upper end of the scale, and that's the Rebel Commando on the Revenge of the Jedi card back. This one did have the Boba Fett prototype offer sticker, so this one was the retail release, not the one that came in the Death Star playset, which we'll cover at the end of the video. But this one was the retail release, and that one sold for $135. Is that a fair price? I don't know. That one seems a little high to me, but it was a really clean example and you know, I don't see much in the way of wear to it. Maybe a little bit of edge wear at the very top of the card by the VC26, but very clean example, and 135 took that home, free shipping. Next up, Jango Fett. We haven't talked about Jango Fett lately, and the price seems to be kind of holding up okay in that 150 price point. This one was an unpunched U.S. card back and in great shape, and that one sold for 150 free shipping. That's kind of right in line with market. I've seen it kind of as low as $100, $125 if you're, you know, kind of looking for an auction. This one was a buy it now situation at 150, which is down. I mean, admittedly, that's still down from where these were selling for last year, but 150 took that home. Next up was a beautiful example of the Return of the Jedi card back retail release with the Boba Fett offer, and this was unpunched VC64 Princess Leia in her slave outfit. It was a great example, really, really clean. $286. That was a bargain relative to where this one used to sell. I mean, for a while there, this thing was getting up towards $400, even ungraded, and that just shows you how far this one has come back down a little bit. But that was a really good deal, I feel like, for an unpunched Princess Leia slave outfit. Next up, Jocasta New. This is obviously the Brian's Toys exclusive, and this one included the proof card as well as all the packaging. It looked to be in fantastic condition. The box was in really great shape, and that one sold in an auction for $132.50. I mean, that's fallen quite a bit. If you remember, this for a while there, you know, nobody wanted it, and then all of a sudden it spiked up to about $300, and it's come back down to earth. And this one did sell for $132.50 plus $10 shipping. I thought that was a really good deal there. Next up, one of the Grails that we're going to cover. I've got several, but this one was one of them. This is the Jar Jar Binks in Carbonite. This obviously came in that Lost Line kind of octagonal box, and we talked about some of the Lost Line figures in the last video, but we didn't talk about Jar Jar because there hadn't been any recent sales. Well, this one looked to be very, very clean, unpunched, and in great condition. That one did sell for $542.50, and that seems to be the going rate. It's kind of holding steady between $500 and $550 for Jar Jar Binks in Carbonite. Next up was an autographed Obi-Wan Kenobi. I thought this was a great deal. I don't know who got this one, but man, what a deal on this one. This one was signed by Ewan McGregor, and this has got the Obi-Wan Kenobi Wandering Jedi version. So you can see the autograph there. And it did include a certificate of authenticity from SWAU, which is Star Wars Autograph Universe. So it does say likely genuine. So keep that in mind, is that, you know, it wasn't verified as 100%, but it says likely genuine. You know, everybody does it a little bit different. I know James Spence Authentication always has some verbiage at the end that says, based on our knowledge, based on previous examples, this one looks like it's legit. So you never know 100% unless you have a photo of Ewan McGregor actually signing it. This one did have a crease as well in the lower right-hand corner, so that probably kept the price down just a little bit. But very clean example. I mean, to me, I don't know how that would be fake. I mean, yes, Ewan McGregor's autograph is but basically just a bunch of little scribbles, but it looks very genuine relative to some of the others that he signed. So I would be shocked if that one was a fake. And it would be kind of a weird item to fake. I mean, you know, who's going to fake an item that's going to sell for $135? But this one did sell for $132.50 plus $18 shipping. I got a couple of examples of the Toys R Us Empire Strikes Back packaging for the Imperial TIE Fighter. This one sold for $136. This one sold for $150. So a couple of data points there if you're looking for that one. Both of those look to be in really great condition. And there's something about that Empire Strikes Back packaging that it's really striking with the Imperial TIE Fighter. It's just kind of a clean look, and I just like the way that looks. But $135 to $150 is the going rate for a mint and sealed box Empire Strikes Back Toys R Us exclusive TIE Fighter. Next up, I've got two different examples of the Land Speeder. One of them graded, one of them ungraded. This one is the Toys R Us exclusive. That one sold in an auction for $150 plus $15 shipping. And then over in the UK, they had that example that I believe I had in my What to Buy video. This one was a UKG 85% mint and sealed box Land Speeder. That one sold for 190 pounds, which is 231 US dollars. Pretty good deal there, considering that the ungraded example sold for 165 after shipping, and then this one sold for 231. plus shipping. Admittedly, the shipping to the U.S. would have been very expensive just because of the global shipping program. But if you happen to be in the U.K., you probably picked this up for about $250 or so. Pretty good deal relative to the one that was ungraded. Some other graded items, we had a VC103 Obi-Wan Kenobi. This one is the original 2012 release, graded AFA 9.25, and it was an unpunched example. That one sold for $200 plus $19 shipping. And then I've also got two different Ahsokas that sold. Both of them were the European release with the black out stickers on the front there, and then the warning labels on the back. You can see the warning labels there on the back of that VC102 original issue Ahsoka. So, again, I've got two of them. One of them was ungraded. This one sold for $200 plus $20 shipping from the Netherlands. And it looked to be in pretty good shape. It wasn't perfect, but, you know, it had a little bit of wear, maybe just around the card, a little bit of card curl, but pretty good shape. I'd say an 85 grade shape. And then this one was the big one. This is the highest price I've seen for an original issue Ahsoka in a while. And admittedly, it was a very high grade example. It was a 95% gold level from UKG, the European release, Hasbro Euroback. So straight 95s for the subscores from UKG. It was listed for 730 pounds. It sold for 600 pounds, which equates to 735 US dollars. That to me is again the highest price I've seen for one in a while, but admittedly it was a 95 grade. So just a data point there. Next up, some recent releases. We had an uncirculated 9.25 Boba Fett in his Tusken outfit, and that was a pretty clean example. That one sold for $125 plus $10 shipping. The same seller had an uncirculated 9.0 for the Tusken Warrior. I love the Tusken Warrior. That looks really great. Love that card back. Absolutely gorgeous, beautiful figure. And that one sold for $85, which I thought was a great deal, plus $10 shipping. Next up was a 9.25 uncirculated Darth Vader from the Death Star 2 with the removable helmet. Another beautiful figure and certainly one of the best releases recently from Hasbro. That one sold for $125 plus $10 shipping. Next up, let's dig into the final two Grails before we wrap this video up. Here is that VC20 Yoda on the alternate card back, the Kenner Canada version, or Hasbro Canada version. This one sold in an auction for $810. That is a stonking good deal for an unpunched VC20 Yoda. If you remember earlier last year, or maybe even this year, these got as high as $1,800 to over $2,000. And here you go. This one sold for $810. That is a massive drop, and I am shocked by that sales price. Finally, Brian's Toys had the Death Star set from 2011, the SDCC exclusive. This one had everything. It had all the figures inside, and it sold in an auction for $1,800, 26 bids plus $10 shipping. The box looked to be in great shape, and there you go. That's a recent sales price for that Death Star playset, and certainly one of the Grails. I mean, in this auction lot, we had the VC20 Canadian Yoda, we had the SDCC Death Star playset, the Jar Jar Binks, and lots of other great items. I hope you enjoyed this look at what the Vintage Collection is doing in terms of resale prices on eBay. Thanks again for watching, and I'll be back soon.